Jobs Create Peace Coalition is an unincorporated association formerly known as the Ad Hoc Committee to Enforce Proposition A. Jobs Create Peace has been the driving force for policy changes and implementation for youth employment on Proposition A projects for both the city and county of Los Angeles. On June 26, 1997, the County Board of Supervisors held a special session regarding youth employment on Proposition A projects. The Ad Hoc Committee to Enforce Proposition A, acting as a catalyst, brought together 7 known gang truce peacemakers from all 5 supervisory county districts, along with 200 gang leaders from 75 different African American and Latino gang sets, supported by 50 nonprofit community-based organizations and a major private development project, Playa Vista.
200 Los Angeles gang members gathered today for a common goal: employment. Channel 5 News reporter Warren Wilson has details from downtown L.A.
It was a bizarre scene. Some 200 gang members, heads bowed, asking for divine intervention.
I pray over every barrio, every young man, Father God. I pray over their families, Lord. Father, that your spirit of peace would continue to prevail.
They are at risk of ending up in prison or worse, being killed. They joined forces, 50 different gangs, to form the Committee to Enforce Proposition A. That was the $1.6 billion Safe Neighborhood and Parks Act passed by voters right after the 1992 riots. Millions were designated for youth jobs. Despite training programs, only a few young people have claimed salaries of $68,000 from the $200 million already paid to contractors. That's the rub for gang members. So, county supervisors tightened the noose by issuing new orders to cities.
Who approves that 50% of all maintenance funds would be used for at-risk youth?
Some of the 80 cities in the county don't want to disrupt their plans and their projects.
If we can't go forward with some of our projects because of this requirement, I think the youth in our community are going to lose double.
Many of the proposed local projects have very tight or multiple funding sources, and the 10% loss of funds would be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
The mayors and other city representatives registered their opposition to the proposal and then left. Only a couple stayed and listened to what was behind this large turnout of at-risk youth. A prosecutor and probation officer were among the speakers.
The employment of at-risk youth and the improvement of the parks has been 0%. 0%. That's countywide. There's 88 cities in the county that has an average of 0%.
If you really look at these men, what they're saying to you is, we want a job. And no matter what I do as a prosecutor to put them away, at some point, we've got to start looking at what is the alternative.
The board voted to require the cities to change their policies. From downtown Los Angeles, Warren Wilson, Channel 5 News at 10.
Downtown L.A., gang members attended today's L.A. County Board of Supervisors meeting to ask for help that they say is long overdue. Political reporter John Schwada has a story.
You, my Lord, would help us, my God, this day. Give us favor, Lord.
Gang members pray for success in a war not against youthful rivals, but government officials. The battlefield, the Board of Supervisors, not a street corner. The weapons are not guns, but testimony, some of it passionate.
If you really look at these men, what they're saying to you is, we want a job.
Some 200 gang members and their advocates go before the L.A. County Board of Supervisors to urge them finally to make good on a long overdue promise, specifically to provide significant numbers of jobs for youth, including those at risk of joining gangs, jobs working on wreck and park projects, financed with so-called Proposition A bond money. The reality, only a handful of jobs actually available. Also before the board, representatives of various cities who get Prop A money, ganging up to complain they can't meet the youth hiring goal first proposed by the county. That original goal would involve spending $75 million in Prop A money on youth jobs over the next 22 years. Led by Yvonne Burke, the supervisors vote 4-0 to approve a compromise that lowers the youth job spending goal to $65 million. Still, at day's end, advocates for at-risk youth are pleased with tens of millions of bucks instead of the tens of thousands now being spent. Is it enough?
No, it's nowhere near enough, but it is a first step. We still have to get the money tied to the at-risk youth.
Well, there's no such thing as a silver bullet here in terms of handling the issue of crime in our city. But this is as close as we're ever going to get to a silver bullet.
In Los Angeles, John Schwada, Fox 11.